Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Accountability. It's what the American people expect. It's what the American people crave. And in return for accountability, the American people give forgiveness because they understand that everyone makes mistakes, that everyone has errors. Accountability, it's one of the keystones of our system of checks and balances. It's a fundamental principle of the jurisdiction of this committee to hold accountable all levels of the federal government for the actions that they take. And yet today we are here because we have an Attorney General who has failed to be accountable for the actions that his department has taken that has resulted in the death of not only a Border Patrol agent, but countless others in Mexico. And so to the family of Brian Terry, I wish to say on behalf of the American people, I truly apologize for what has happened to your son and to your family and for what you've had to endure as a result of this. And I further apologize that we have an Attorney General who has failed to take responsibility, who has failed to find anybody accountable for this. And I have said it before and I will say it again that you may be able to delegate authority, but you cannot delegate responsibility. And today we are here because we have an obligation to find out who is accountable, who is responsible for these actions that could have been avoided. And yes, we see the red herrings that, oh, well, there was wide receiver, an operation that happened under the Bush administration, an operation that is totally different than Fast and Furious, an operation that was started and yet stopped once it was found out by President Bush. It resulted in no deaths, and more importantly, it did have the knowledge of the Mexican government. But yet when we send a subpoena to this administration, including with it not only the documents that we see and seek under Fast and Furious, also seek the documents from Wide Receiver. And why is it that we receive a plethora of information regarding Fast and Furious under the previous administration and just a smidgen of documents regarding the Fast and Furious? Is it because this administration continues to want to blame, continues to want to hold responsible the previous administration for this current administration's irresponsible behavior, abject failure in policy? When are we going to stop the blame and look for accountability? I will tell you, Mr. Chairman, that accountability starts here with this resolution. I will tell you that the American public are tired of the evolving truth that is trickling from the Department of Justice and demand the actual truth which this resolution will bring. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I will yield the balance of my time to my good friend from South Carolina, Mr. Gowdy.
Mr. Chairman, I would just simply say this. There's been a lot of discussion this morning about Wide Receiver, about previous administrations. Mr. Chairman, let me be very clear. Bring them all. Bring everybody before this committee. Anyone who has information about gun walking, bring the information before the committee, because gun walking is wrong no matter what administration does it. So bring the Republicans and bring the Democrats and bring the Bull Moose Party and bring the Whigs. Bring them all. But that does not mitigate this Attorney General's responsibility to comply with a subpoena from Congress. Those are two separate issues, Mr. Chairman. What happened? Let's get all the information. To all of our colleagues who want to blame the Bush administration for everything that has gone wrong in this country, give them their day. But that does not mitigate this Attorney General's responsibility to comply with the law. And I'll say this in conclusion, Mr. Chairman. Like my friend Pat Meehan from Pennsylvania, as a former prosecutor, this is a sad day. For someone who worked for the Department of Justice, I hasten to add, in a Democrat administration, this is a sad day. But it is a necessary day. The notion that you can withhold information and documents from Congress, no matter whether you're the party in power or not in power, is wrong. Respect for the rule of law must mean something irrespective of the vicissitudes of political cycles. I thank my gentleman, my friend from Florida, and I yield back.
I yield back the balance of my time, Mr. Chairman.